Welcome back. Goals, resolutions, even just daily efforts of self-improvement, they can all be wasted if you're waiting in what my next guest calls emotional mud. Studio 5 contributor Connie Sokol is founder of the program Back to Basics. She has a 3-step checklist to help women get emotionally unstuck. I kind of like the visual in a weird way of emotional mud. So fill in the blank for me. I know I'm stuck in that emotional mud if what?
If I feel foggy, if I feel overwhelmed, if I feel like I can't get control of my life, if I feel resentful that, you know, other people aren't letting me have control or whatever, those kinds of feelings. Of course, that can also mimic hormones, so you might want to check that out a little. But those kind of feelings, when you're feeling them over and over, that kind of means you're maybe staying in the same rut and you're just grinding the wheels.
So this could help us, this three-step checklist you have could help us shake loose of a myriad of different solutions, but those characteristics, the fogginess, the resentfulness.
Can't get things together. I feel just life is out of control, and these are all things I need to change, but I don't know how, and I feel like my head's full.
We're all nodding our heads. Yeah. We're all like, yes, Connie, yes. All right, the 3-step checklist. Let's dive in. What's first?
Well, first is to prepare for that, is to be still. And I know it just seems so obvious, but we just don't do it, and that's, we've got to say, no, this is priority. And it doesn't matter if you take time in your bathroom, lock the door, if you do this in your car, you pull over and go into a park, 15 minutes. And it's that paradox of you have to let down to let it rise up. What is it that your soul is trying to tell you? And I think sometimes that we women, we know, but we just don't allow ourselves permission to listen. So just take 15 minutes, get a notepad, sticky pad, napkin, whatever's in the glove compartment, and just lay there, sit there, and just start letting things come up if that's what you want to do, or even just to be still. Huge.
And then you ask yourself, you say the step one is to ask yourself, what is working right now?
Yes, because I think too often it's almost like when you go to organize, you start thinking, what do we need to organize? Oh, I need to do this and this and this and this. And then before you know it, you're just like in the fridge because you're like, I can't handle it. So give yourself the kudos. Go, what's working already? Start where you have success. You know, what's a habit that I've started that is working? What's a challenge I've overcome? What's something good I've done this year? What's something good I do with my family? What's something good I do for myself? Write those down, 3 to 5 things, 10 if you can do them, more if you want. But have some things that you go, good job, because we just don't do that enough.
And is the purpose of that step one, asking yourself what's working, is the purpose to build us up and make us feel good and know we have accomplished things? Or is there a learning opportunity here to look over that pattern of progress and see what really did make it different?
Absolutely. You start to see that, you know, I really do have some good things in place. Because sometimes we start to magnify and we think that, oh, I'm just so lame at this. It's not true. You already have good things that you have in place, and you're going to draw on those 3 to 5, 10 things as you make new changes. You're going to go back and say, you know what, I was successful in these things, so I can be successful in this thing.
And I would imagine that step one, there's even an opportunity to cross subjects. I don't know how to better say that, but to say, this worked in this area of weight loss, let's say.
Yes.
It may also work in this area of organization. You can almost cross solutions a little bit.
Absolutely. I find even that there's always that domino effect, and specifically between organization and weight loss. If one woman starts with with weight loss, she ends up wanting to get organized, and vice versa. So there is that dovetailing. So it is important to start with, what am I seeing success in? What do I do good already?
What is step 2?
Step 2 is what's not working. And this is a great time to just almost put your life on a chair and take your little notepad or whatever and just observe it, but lovingly, kindly. There isn't a judge in the room. You're not getting a bad grade. This isn't about tearing yourself down. This is about just looking at your life on a chair and saying, okay, what is not letting me function or feel joy? What is it that if I had a little magic wand, I could say, I'd love to see that change? Write those down. Is it finances? Is it a relationship? Is it you're an emotional shopper? Is it that you're disorganized? What is it that's really keeping you from feeling that daily happiness and joy?
Now, what if sitting on that chair is a big fat question mark? What if we have no clue what isn't working? We just know based on those descriptors that you mentioned earlier, something isn't quite there.
You know, I think that's a time for you to take a little more be still time, because things will surface if you will allow them. Don't push them back. What sometimes we do is, well, I think so-and-so tells me that I do this, or I feel badly when I do this. Instead, stop listening to all those other voices in your head and just take one area of your life and say, maybe it's organization. You say, what is it really that's bothering me about organization? And when you work backwards and you start saying, what is it? Then you start getting to, well, it's because my mother-in-law is always criticizing my kitchen. And then you can say, you know what? I love my kitchen the way it is. I'm actually not that disorganized. I actually really like it this way, or whatever it might be. You can go back to what is the actual root of the problem, rather than I have all these voices that are telling me what is, you know, what I'm not doing well.
Step 3, you say, is all about change, moving forward.
Yes, and I have a little pattern that I love. that I've found years ago as far as created this little formula for myself. Internal plus external equals eternal change. So you need both, but you can start with one or the other to make the change lasting.
What would be an example of that formula? Internal plus external equals eternal.
Internal, I think a great catchphrase for there is what's the why. So going back to what we were saying, working backwards, say if you have a problem, maybe you're 20 pounds overweight and you go, okay, I want to change this. The internal driver would be going backwards and asking, what's the why? Okay, I'm 20 pounds overweight because I eat too much of different foods that aren't good for me. Why do I do that? Oh, I do that when I'm stressed or bored or angry. So why do I do that? Well, I do that because this is a quick feel good and I didn't process really why I felt angry, stressed, or bored. Okay, so then you've identified it, emotional triggers. Now you know what to start with instead of, I just really gotta do better. And then you're just berating yourself for not being this ideal version of yourself. So that would be like an internal driver. And that's more of a, you're starting with the kind of a root and then working out from that to an external behavior.
You're starting with the reason that can then affect the behaviors.
Exactly.
And you've seen this play out in women's lives who have participated in the Back to Basics program, for
Absolutely,
example.
because then maybe if you don't start with the internal, you say, I'm gonna start with the external and I'm just gonna start on an eating plan until that driver kicks in, until I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. And you can do the exact, you can do the other way. I got this Facebook I gotta share with you. We Facebooked last week I talked about intuitive eating and stop dieting and just go with your body and how it feels. And this one gal, we talked about choosing one habit and she said, yay, I just tried on a pair of pants that I couldn't even button 10 days ago and I can get them buttoned. Your mantra of no more diets and intuitive eating is really helping. And that was one habit. And that's one thing I want to make clear. Please choose one habit, just one that you can get behind. Maybe this gal would say that was wanting to lose 20 pounds. Maybe you'd say, okay, 3 snacks that are sugary in the week, that's it. Or no late night snacks except for Friday night. One habit that's the external driver and you will see the change. Once you become aware of something, then that emotional trigger, whatever, then you can put the external habit that goes with it. I remember years ago a gal saying she couldn't figure out how to organize her life and she was just feeling kind of out of control and wasn't moving forward. Looked at her life and realized she was surfing the web 2 hours a day, not in one sitting, but when she just added it all up.
It's called Pinterest.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, wasted time, that name is Pinterest. That's exactly it. And so being able to pinpoint it is huge because then you can say, do I want to start with the internal, with what's most, with what's the most exciting or motivating or I should, or the external, which is the most stressful. Either way, you're going to see results.
I love that formula. I haven't heard that concept before, so that was news to my ears and I really liked it. Connie, thank you so much. We used weight loss as kind of a running thread, an example of how to get emotionally unstuck. If someone finds themselves in those shoes, you have a great download that will help give them a positive boost.
Absolutely. In fact, this is a great first step. It's 10 ways to look great without losing weight. And I got to tell you, I use these. I used them this morning. I woke up, I felt poofy. I did not feel pretty. I used some of these things and then I lost the poof. I lost that bleh. So this really helps. Download it, ConnieSokol.com or ConnieSokol.com/Studio 5, either way.
Fantastic, Connie. Thank you. Coming up, how